What about your Cub takeaways? They get the loss today, but what did you see from them?
Yeah, well, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot, at least from the Chicago side, to be happy with. But at the same time, you got to look at what they were able to, manage the game. They just couldn't muster any offense. Giving up 4 runs against the Dodgers offense, you'd take that any day, especially when you had the traffic you had. So I was impressed by Imanaga be able to make the big pitch when he needed to get out of those games or those innings. But Amaya, too, for me, behind the plate, I thought did a really good job. Young catcher. As far as navigating the game, being able to help his pitchers through those tough innings where they had traffic and to keep the game within striking.
He got a knock.
Yeah, and he had a great swing against Yamamoto to drive in the lone run for the Cubs, right center field. He's had a really good spring with the bat for the Cubs, and I know there's, this is kind of like a pivotal year for him behind the plate where, the Cubs are wanting to see some improvement with the bat, to go along with the really good defense that he features. But I was impressed by his overall play today. He blocked a couple of really tough pitches in the dirt with guys on third base to allow his pitcher to get to the next pitch, to get out of the inning. And I was just impressed by the way he was able to navigate the lineup for the Dodgers. Because let me tell you, doing that, I never had to navigate this kind of lineup, but they've always had great lineups, and it's a tough task.
I want to make sure that I've got this right. I believe Kyle Tucker went 0 for 4, struggled, to find his footing in spring. No one's panicking or anything. I mean, that'd be stupid. But what did you see from him?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's definitely, he hasn't, put up really any numbers over the course of spring. I don't pay attention to that. It's tough, too, going, in the middle of spring training. You're playing a regular season game in the middle of spring training with everything going around as far as the atmosphere of the Tokyo series. Is he putting a little pressure on himself, being with a new team? Maybe a little bit.
Understandable.
But I am not worried about Kyle Tucker at all. There's going to be a point where at the end of the year, you're going to see 30 homers, you're going to see 20-something stolen bases, 100 RBIs. So, it's one game. Let's not overreact.
1 for 22 in spring and then 0 for 4 for Kyle Tucker. But as Alex said, look, it'd be foolish to think that he's not going to get going very soon. All right, your pitching box score again, Yamamoto. Yamamoto got the start, went 5 innings, and then Tanner Scott wrapped it up against the Chicago Cubs. What were your impressions of the pitching from the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, I mean, it was extremely impressive what they were able to do throughout 9 innings. Yamamoto set the tone for them, and I mean, he just looked like a different pitcher. And I think everything coming out of Dodgers camp, especially early on, was this guy seems way more confident in what he needs to do in order to be successful. But when I watch him pitch, especially like last year coming over, that delivery of his for me would be so tough as a hitter with that abbreviated windup that he has where he just kind of comes at you as opposed to the traditional leg kick. Really tough to time, especially when you're throwing upper 90s like that with the split finger. The thing for him, and he talked about it too after, he feels great with his mechanics, which allows him to be very consistent as far as his command. And that's extremely key for any pitcher. But when you're featuring the stuff that he has, you'll see it today. It'll make him almost unhittable when he's not making mistakes in the middle of the zone.
Yeah, it's interesting. When healthy, I'm not sure which collective unit is better, the starting rotation or the bullpen. And we got a sneak preview of just what that bullpen can look like. Treinen and then Scott to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, the starting rotation has a who's who of some of the best starting pitchers we have in the game. And then, so the bullpen sometimes can get a little bit lost. But that bullpen, there's a ton of weapons down there for Roberts to be able to deploy with all different types of arm angles, too. You have Banda out there throwing, the fastball slider combination, left-handed. Treinen right there with the most gravity-defying pitch I've ever seen, and Tanner Scott, one of the best closers in the game.
Look at these
going
arm
right
angles.
Now. We have different arm angles at different speeds, different shapes on their balls, so you can not only deploy guys based on what they can do, but what they can do against specific hitters and specific swings, because they have so many different options down there that have plus stuff. And so for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers, I mean, you have a starting pitcher that gets you through 5 innings, 6 innings. I mean, the game, becomes really short, really short when you're able to bring guys out of the pen like that with those different arm angles and that kind of stuff.